Alright, so this video is on objective 44, which is to state that a variety of other elements besides carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen are needed by living organisms, including sulfur, calcium, phosphorus, iron, and sodium. So that's pretty much the objective in itself, but I'm going to go into further detail about each element. So the first one is sulfur, and sulfur is essential to all living things. It's taken up as a sulfate from the soil or from seawater by plants and algae, and it's used to make two of the essential amino acids that are needed to make proteins, and it's also needed in some coenzymes. The average human contains about 140 grams of sulfur and takes in about 1 gram a day, mainly in proteins. So sulfur and sulfate are non-toxic, but carbon disulfide, hydrogen sulfide, and sulfur dioxide are all toxic. And hydrogen sulfide is particularly dangerous and can kill you. Sulfur dioxide is produced when coal and unpurified oil are burned. Sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere causes acid rain, which can cause lakes to die. The next one is calcium. And calcium is also essential to all living things, particularly for the growth of healthy teeth and bones, because calcium phosphate is the main component of bone. So if your mother ever bothered you about drinking your milk to get your calcium when you were a kid, it's probably because she loved you and she knew that calcium phosphate was the main component of bone. And the average human contains about 8 kilogram of calcium. And children and pregnant women are encouraged to eat foods rich in calcium like milk and dairy products, leafy green vegetables, fish, nuts, and seeds. Our next element is phosphorus. And phosphorus is also essential to all living things, and it forms the sugar phosphate backbone of DNA and RNA, and is important for energy transfer in cells as part of ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, because ATP needs 3 phosphates, and it's found in many other biologically important molecules. And we humans take in about 1 gram a day, and we have a lot in our bodies already, since our bones and teeth are mainly calcium phosphate, as I mentioned before. Our next element is iron, and iron is an essential element for all forms of life and is non-toxic. And the average human contains about 4 grams of iron, and a lot of this is in hemoglobin in the blood, on the red blood cells. And hemoglobin carries oxygen from our lungs to our body cells, where it is necessary for tissue respiration. And humans need about 10 to 18 milligrams of iron each day, and a lack of iron will cause people to develop anemia. So foods such as liver, kidney, molasses, brewer's yeast, cocoa, and licorice contain a lot of iron. So if you're eating a lot of kidney, liver, or molasses, good for you. Our next element is sodium. And sodium is also essential to all living things. One thing it does is transmit nerve signals, or help cells transmit nerve signals and regulate water levels in tissues and blood. And if you have too much, you can also get high blood pressure, but it's necessary, so just eat a little bit each day. Cool, that's all.